Hi, welcome to session 3. I hope everybody's finding the course so far interesting. Healthcare informatics is an evolving and emerging discipline. We have many nurses and physicians who are moving from clinical practice or going right directly into healthcare informatics because they see it as an important aspect to improve the quality, effectiveness, and cost of care across the board. So as we have moved forward, I have seen people starting to really embrace what informatics is and seeing that there is great opportunity with using the technology as tools so that we can have better outcomes and find ways to improve the quality of care that we're delivering. This past week, we talked a lot about the different types of health systems out there and how they impact us within our work and even within our academic program. So the systems that we see, there's not just one. It's not just one computer. There's multiple systems out there that help us look at how the care is captured. So what interventions are we doing and how that goes into the electronic health record and what we could potentially use that information for. And if you're in the healthcare support areas, whether an administrator, a scheduling person, admitting person, wherever you are in your care, wherever in the care environment, these tools actually provide us with the information, knowledge, so that we can make some very intuitive, wisdom-based decision making. Now, going forward, we're going to start looking more granular at what makes these systems tick. And the first area that we're going to consider is the standardized terminologies and languages. And I've had a lot of people ask me, what are they? Are they the same? Are they different? Well, think of it this way. Clinical language is very discipline specific. A terminology is more concept specific. You will hear terminology used across the board for everything, and some places like the United States government calls them all clinical languages. And the reason they call them clinical languages is because they're picking up data that's related to the care practice. Clinical terminologies and clinical languages are coding systems that identify specific elements within that care environment. So nursing has a number of different clinical languages that identify what nursing does. For our class, those individuals who are already practicing nurses, you may have heard of NIC, NOC, and NANDA. So the nursing intervention classification, nursing outcome classification, and nursing diagnosis. These are types of codes that are used to identify portions of the nursing process globally. There's other nursing languages like the perioperative nursing data set that I worked on when I was with the Association of Perioperative Registered Nurses, which is a terminology that looks at nursing diagnosis, outcomes, and interventions only within the perioperative environment of care. And it's very specific. So when this terminology, which has recently been expanded into a documentation framework, is distributed to the vendor community, the vendors put it in their system, and then the language helps to capture the correct information for the type of care that's provided within the perioperative environment. And it also allows, because it's standardized, no matter if you're in hospital A, B, or C, the same type of data is captured and classified uniquely the same. So that means the data is similar and you can measure across those hospitals to see how individuals are doing. Is hospital C's care better than hospital A? And if it is, what are they doing differently that hospital A is doing so that hospital A might take some of the that information and change their care delivery to improve the quality of their care. So it's measurement. Measurement is very important. In order to measure, you have to measure the same things. So apples to apples. And when you talk about apples, you have to make sure it's the same type. So delicious apples as opposed to Cortland's or Jazz. Because when you don't call things exactly the same, you can't measure exactly, or I should say, you can't measure precisely, and your data becomes skewed. So that brings us to databases. So when you start coding everything, you can start extracting data, and it goes into a database. And now you've got all this information in a database. How do you get it out? Well, we do something called data mining. And data mining is essentially sifting through the data so that we can start to recognize patterns. And in recognizing patterns, we can start to identify gaps or similarities in care and start to make adjustments to make our care delivery process much more effective and get quality outcomes and improve the health and well-being of patient populations. And using codes such as ICD-10, that allows us to start measuring procedures and interventions that are reimbursable by the United States government. And I will tell you, with ICD-10, the United States is using 10, but that's a global, international coding system or terminology. And even third world countries are starting to use ICD-12. And you might wonder, well, why are they using 12 if we're still on 10? Well, in the United States, we have multiple vendor companies out there, and there's a lag time in getting a system converted. And it takes anywhere from 3 months to a year, depending on the urgency. And the United States had already started converting to ICD-10 a couple of years ago, and they decided to stay with ICD-10 until it's totally rolled out by the end of last year. But what that does for us is the government can take a look at that data that they're getting through ICD-10, and they can start identifying gaps in population health and making programs for health improvement and to reach disparate groups or different type of groups that are not getting the quality of care. So that's essentially where we're going to be looking at for this session. And with that said, I just want to remind everybody that our initial posts are due on Wednesday, and all final posts and all assignments are due on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So this is really consistent for every course or for every session that we have. Initial posts are Wednesday, and the deadline for all assignments is a Sunday night. Now, if you're having problems with an assignment, please reach out to me and let me know. We do have a virtual office hours on Mondays between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And, we can discuss it there. If you need a private conversation, let me know, and I'll set up a call and we can talk it through. I just want you to know that I'm there to help you and support you in any way that I can. Informatics is a really exciting science, but until you get your arms around it, it can be kind of confusing. So I can appreciate that, and I'll help you through any of the bumps in the road along the way. So with that, I want you to really consider what you're doing. You should be working on your PowerPoint presentation or getting information. On last session you had a couple articles that you needed to pull. Use that as your baseline or background information for your presentation. Going forward, you'll still have a couple of assignments that'll help you create that PowerPoint presentation. And just so that you know, session 4, there are some resource tools that will help you in developing the presentation. If possible, I really would like you to do a voiceover. And that can be done through Office 365, the PowerPoint presentation. There's tutorials also on that. So let me know if you need any help. I'll be more than willing to meet with you during office hours or with a phone call. Thank you very much, and you're a great group of students, and I hope to get to know you even better. Thank you.